Hi lovelies, this is Blossom, and today we go to the next tree, and this would be the hazel. As you can see here, this one is from my garden, and I really love that. It's such a gentle shrub more than a tree. And I really like this tree. So the hazel, or Coll, we can find it in the modern tree calendar from August the 5th until September the 1st. The letter is C. The animals associated with it is salmon or crane. The colors brown or orange. And the flower associated with it is vervin. And as always, we start with the lore and legend. So hazel is one of the chieftain trees, and in earlier times to fell it unlawfully incurred the death penalty. In Celtic tradition, the hazel is associated with poetry and wisdom. But this kind of poetry is not only concerned with writing stanzas and preserving Celtic lore, but with attainment of divine knowledge and awareness of all things. So the Irish oracular poets, the Fiechter, were renowned magical practitioners and seers, and still today we often see with tarot or oracle readers, or people who practice magic, for example, that a lot of them have a huge interest in poetry, books, everything which is written. A lot of them have their own journals, and really not only, small journals, but write like everything down. So we still have that association today. So it is said that the hazel holds all wisdom, or Arwen, within its nuts. Legend tells us that the nuts were consumed by the sacred salmon of wisdom, who dwelt in Conla's well. I will write it here. This is a legendary place, either under the sea or in the other world. It's not clear who Conla was, where Conla was, but as recorded in the Dint Senjas, I will write it down, it should have been near Tipperary in Ireland. This well is also known as Nacton's well and the well of Sega. Sorry, it's a lot that I have to write. This would be the mythical source of all rivers in Ireland. So this salmon who lived in this well, in Conla's well, ate only nuts from the 9 sacred hazel trees that surrounded the pool. And again here, notice the number 9, as hazel is also the 9th tree in the Ogham. And 9 is quite a magical number. Now the salmon swam out to the sea and back again, transmitting this knowledge from spirit to sea to generation after generation via this magical process. Eating the salmon of wisdom lent knowledge of all arts and sciences, and this was the fate of the hero Fionn MacCumhaill, who is also connected to the hazel, as mythology tells us that the best Celtic warriors were educated in Druidic wisdom. Fionn had a famous magical shield named the Dripping Ancient Hazel, because it was cut from the hazel tree upon which the head of the god Balor of the evil eye had hung for 50 years, dripping poison. Another Druid warrior was Cuchulainn, who stressed the wonder of this wisdom, calling it the sweetest of woods. The hazel tree is also sacred to Angus MacOg, the god of love and eloquence, who carried a hazel wand. Angus' words, friend of cracking, suggest the hazel's willingness to aid mortals in the cracking or dismantling of mental and or spiritual programming to become able to flow in and out of all things, thus gaining divine wisdom. And we can also find the friend of cracking. This expression we find in the book The Celtic Shaman from John Matthews. So even today, the term "in a nutshell" means someone's understanding of a subject being complete and simple in its summation. Hazel is a tree that shows us the wisdom found in the micro and macrocosmos, a single point of focus reflecting the whole of creation within it. So Scottish lore tells us, similar to the Irish legends, of a sacred well guarded by hazel trees in which 2 magical salmon lived. Those were so holy that to eat them would induce punishment by the gods, as the wisdom and power for the fish held was for them alone. In British folklore, silver snakes are said to surround the hazel roots, and this is the vibrant life force, it's Arwen, the ability to be connected and understand all things as swift as thought. This relates again to the words of Taliesin in the Fold of the Bards, where he says, "I am a wise man, I am a serpent." So when you meet a snake on your shamanic journey, you probably need to shed something in favor of something greater. And the catkins of the hazel may indeed remind us a bit of a golden snake. The hazel is said to be under the rulership of Mercury, and there are many connections between the hazel and the god Mercury or Hermes, who oversees matters of communication and knowledge. And as we all know, there is in the spiritual community always a lot going on when Mercury is in retrograde. Then apparently everything that is about communication is difficult. I haven't experienced myself, to be honest. So both these messenger gods carry a staff of hazel, sometimes depicted with ribbons or silver snakes wrapped around it. These silver snakes become the caduceus, the wand of the healer. And when we talk about healing, this leads us to the goddess Bridget, who is, amongst other things, also known for her healing attributes. She is also the goddess of poetry and the home, and hazel is also sacred to her through her death rites and keening, which is a ritualized mourning, or keening is to wail in lamentation, especially for the dead. And I think I will put a link in the description box for an example for keening if you don't know what that is. So keening featured in the tale of the Battle of Moytura, where Bridget keened for her son. Here the hazel aid in communication between life and death. And as I mentioned before, the hazels have a very friendly and helpful and clever and gentle attitudes to poets and spiritual seekers. And if you want to contact trees, if you would just start out now with the Ogham, for example, or you want to contact your first tree, the hazel is just a great tree to start with. Okay, that's everything for the lore and legend. Let's move on to the magical use of hazel. So hazel wood is excellent for making all-purpose magical wands, and especially for healing. A forked hazel stick is traditionally used to find water or buried treasures, the 2 forks representing the snakes or dual forces of life and death. Dowsing rods can also help to detect lines of earth energy. These are also known as dragon currents or ley lines. You heard me talking about them already. And they can bring health or illness, it depends, and attract many spirit presences. And places where these lines cross are often location of sacred sites. But there is so much to say about it, about ley lines and everything. So I cut it short here. So, and again, before you cut off a stick, please ask the tree's permission first. And you can even explain to the tree what you want to use the sticks for and ask for its support. As hazel is sacred to the Irish god of love, Angus, as we saw before, They are used in many love and fertility spells. One spell, for example, involves wrapping the hazel flowers, the catkins, in green or pink cloth, carrying them close to the heart before reciting an incantation to your love, and then burning the package in the hearth or over a pink or green candle. Traditionally, hazel was sewn into Welsh sleeping caps to induce good and inspired dreams, as well as to make thinking caps of woven hazel twigs. Hazel is also protective against storms, or you could, for example, drive 3 pins of hazel into the doorpost for protection against fire. A necklace of the nuts, especially in multiple of the number 7, can be worn to attract the fairy folk. Otherwise, hazelnut necklaces are though to bring good luck into the house and have been found in prehistoric tombs. The nuts have been chewed to induce poetic and magical inspiration and insight. If outside and in need of magical protection, quickly draw a circle around yourself with a hazel branch. If you have one with you, of course. And to enlist the aid of plant fairies, string hazelnuts on a cord and hang up in your house or ritual room, or over your sacred space, you know. Use the wood in your spells or magical work to gain knowledge, wisdom, and poetic inspiration. So when you would create a spell to enhance your inspiration, or you want to gain more knowledge, you create a spell around the hazel, how you can use the wood in your ritual or spell work. It will also help you to provide artistic ability, magical knowledge, and optimism. The energy of hazel wands promotes love and creativity, allowing a person to move beyond self-serving modes of existence. Hazel is a bringer of change and also promotes creative expression and eloquence. And then another one for the gardeners out there, so for protection of vegetables, seeds and fruit from magic folk, as well as birds and insects, use a hazel wand to draw a cross with equal arms, followed by a heart, then another cross into the soil. And I didn't know that. And as much as I like to share with the birds my fruits and everything, I had gooseberries, blackberries and raspberries. And there were quite a lot of them, but I wanted them to ripe a bit more. And just 2 days after, I checked again, and the birds ate everything. I only got 1 gooseberry and 2 blackberries for myself. The rest was all for the birds this year. All right, let's move on to the healing part. The nuts are a good source of nutrition as they are rich in healthy fatty acids, vitamins E and B, and numerous minerals. Crosses made of hazelwood were once thought to draw poison from snake bites and to help cure toothache. But if you get bitten by a snake, please don't trust just the hazel. Energetically, the hazel's swift and clever nature is essential in the pursuit of wisdom in the Celtic tradition. So its connection to the bardic mysteries obscures its excellent assistance in the creation and writing of effective magical spells. It's a pathway for druids to contact the Arwen, teaches the way to eventually achieve divinity via the primal and perfect wisdom of the soul. Now, sorry, that could have been more with the magical part, but however, as a vibrational essence, a hazel aids in releasing the source of frustration and unhappiness by helping you to let go of expectations and patterns of thinking that cause doubt, fear, and discontent, focusing on the things you can control and releasing the things you can't. This will bring inner peace and calm. It will help you to unleash potential and support those undertaking a course of study and the development of skill. So let's say you want to learn something new, as for example you want to learn the Ogham You can, have a vibrational essence of hazel with you, so this will help you to study it. Hazel aids in finding the freedom to explore new directions and to follow your inspiration, and it can also ease clear communication. So hazel can help us to free us to let go of all limitations which restrict growth, advancement and potential unfolding. Liberated of the need to be in control of the directions and flow of our lives, we find joy and freedom in movement and spontaneity. Now for the divination part, when you get it in a reading. So, as we know by now, hazel embodies many talents: poetry, divination and the powers of meditation, a channel for creative energies, especially that which allows you to inspire or increase these capacities among others through your work, interests and pursuits. The hazel, in fact, allows you to be a catalyst of transformation. So allow your intuition to bring ideas to the surface, because here Coll suggests that you are skilled in poetry, divination and meditation, and this will allow you to inspire others as well to increase their capacities in these areas. Teach them by example. Go with your intuition all the way to the source and you will be rewarded with great wisdom. Coll or hazel also ask you to stay flexible. This might be the beginning of a new life, of a new stage in life when you get this in a reading. So also when you get it in a reading, it suggests that the time of divine inspiration is at hand. You have endured the challenges and now radiant light breaks through the clouds, illuminating everything with meaning and beauty. By living in connection with your own soul, our inner and outer lives become gradually aligned. Yet, like the hazelnut, all this potential is held in a single point, the individual, until such time when it can manifest in the world. Thus, we find balance between the self and creation. We are able to draw upon the whole as we choose. Often then, result is a joyful surrender to the greater all that is illumination. Ultimately, this signifies both pursuit and the purpose of wisdom. Your evolution is at hand. So, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment below. And as always, the text for this OM will be on my homepage. You can find that in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Much love and blessings, and bye-bye.